Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 2nd of May, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at currencies, then stock markets, some commodities, and last of all, tech stocks. And so we see here that the dollar index is actually below the cloud on the medium term. We are just starting to make a little bit of a transition here on the short-term chart. We haven't activated this upside target yet, but we are just seeing a bit of a flat period, but we're just wandering back up through the cloud. It's worth remembering also that this time last year, around the end of April, beginning of May, was the low point for the US dollar. So it would be interesting to see what happens through May this month. But at the moment, we are just seeing, if not a recovery, certainly some support being found on the dollar at the moment. The euro is still looking pretty strong, but it is also flat. And of course, if that dollar improves, then the euro will almost certainly weaken. And at the moment, we're looking pretty strong as we head into the French elections next week. So this is going to create a little bit of uncertainty probably. But at the moment, short term still looks all right. But the long term targets to the downside are still there. And we've got these medium term targets hanging over us as well. A bit more of a mixed picture. Looking at the Japanese yen, we see here dollar strength really showing through now, and we don't have any clear upside targets on the short-term chart or the medium-term chart, in fact. But the long-term, if we did go higher, that would be significant. But at the moment, quite a mixed picture there. Looking at sterling, we're just falling away on the short term, coming back below the cloud. No downside targets yet. We still have this medium-term upside target of 138. That's very significant, but of course the long-term targets still hang over sterling, so still bearish in the long term and just hitting cloud resistance at the moment. So again, that will be interesting to watch in the coming weeks. Looking at euro sterling, we see here that euro has the slight upper hand, sterling falling away at the moment against the euro, and against the Swiss franc again, sterling falling back to 128. Against the Australian dollar, again falling back from 173.50 back to about 171 and through the cloud, so bearish there, but again a shortage of clear targets yet. Looking at US stock markets, we had quite a week last week in the US. S&P just struggling to get through that 2,400 level. That's proving to be resistance at the moment. And that's what we need to see to be sure of this run. But the Nasdaq definitely running and breaking higher. Tech stocks really moving ahead quite dramatically. The Dow Jones, much the same as the S&P. Just struggling to break that previous high at around 21,200. And if we look at the Russell 2000, we see here we did just break out a little bit higher, but we haven't clearly broken out of this range. Looking on the weekly chart, that's just a little bit clearer. Again, quite good upside targets at a short-term upside target of nearly 6%, so there's definitely potential there. The S&P futures down very slightly this morning, and the Nasdaq E-mini up very slightly, but no real heads up as to which way the US market will open. FTSE 100 up nicely this morning. We see here on the short-term chart we're just getting through, but on the weekly and the medium-term chart we're still struggling a little bit, so not as clear. The FTSE 250, however, just continues to power ahead. This real sweet spot in UK equities at the moment. The DAX we're seeing here is bullish above the cloud on all three time frames, just flat at the moment on the short-term chart. But this column here will give us a thrust target, so significant upside potentially when the DAX makes new highs. Looking at the Nikkei, we're just through again on the medium term, so recovering quite strongly there, having fallen out of that range. Tokyo looking much better. A shortage of targets on the point and figure charts, especially the short-term chart, but we are looking pretty good there. Hang Seng is bullish above the cloud as well. Shanghai bucking the trend slightly, still bearish below the cloud, and on the daily chart, so that's just a little bit worrying. We're bearish on all three time frames there for China at the moment, so just a little bit disconcerting. If we go below that 3,100 level, that would be worrying. Looking at the Sensex, we see here we are bullish on all three time frames, and the Australian index also bullish on all three time frames. US Nat Gas future just a little bit below the cloud here at the 320s level, just struggling here, coming back into resistance, but the long-term targets are still there. A bit more of a mixed picture in the short and medium term. Copper had an amazing jump yesterday, but is pulling back a little bit, and we're still bearish on the medium-term chart, though the long-term is pretty good. Looking at some other commodities, coffee, big jump, although bearish below the cloud, and cocoa again just bearish below the cloud. Soft commodities still not looking great. We look at soybeans here, sorry, sugar. We are just breaking through, and wheat just again starting to run very big moves there in the short-term chart, and soybeans much the same. So some softs really starting to recover quite strongly. Gold has been the big one. It was looking really good, but at the moment it is bearish below the cloud on the short term. We just can't get back above there. We're on this short-term chart, we've got downside targets. 1256 was met, though that's bearish confirmation. 1232 is the next target. That's 1.83% downside. And we are still in an uptrend on this chart. And of course, this target was given and met. Then we had a new upside target of 1371. A move below 1248 would unwind that. So 1250 is the real level to watch at the moment. We're getting quite close to that 1255. So just keep an eye on those levels for gold. Silver, also much the same picture, bearish below the cloud, but no clear downside targets. We've got 16 on the short-term chart, 1630. Taking a look at US government bonds, back into bullish territory. The Fed announcing this week, of course, so that will be interesting. The Apple stock is looking pretty good above the cloud there, bullish on all three time frames. Google really has just been skyrocketing. Amazon also has just been skyrocketing. Facebook, shares that I own, I should just declare that, also looking amazing, just jumped to really all new time highs. Lots of upside targets is one of the reasons I own them. And Microsoft also jumping, another one that I own as well. So that's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.